So a few days ago there was a Reddit post that supposedly had leaks for set 8.5, which is called Monsters Attack Darkest Hour. I've linked the post in the comments and I'll go through some of the juiciest stuff from that post. For example, according to this, Baron Nashor will be playable as a unit in TFT, which is incredible because it's only ever really been a neutral monster in League of Legends. But now the Baron can truly shine as one of the most powerful units in the set. There's also a new trait of villains that fit the Darkest Hour theme. And yeah, you've seen that correctly. Silco seems to be making a comeback in this set as a 3-cost unit with a different ability. And here's the units and traits being removed. They've removed weak or tricky units to play like Malphite and Ashe, frustrating units like Vel'Koz, and very strong units like Urgot and Fiddlesticks. Although some of these units can come back through Mastermind. This leak has a whole bunch of the new hero augments for these new units, and some look really fun like Devour, Baron's carry augment, World Ender, Aatrox's carry augment, and Elisa's support augment Arachnophobia. So some aspects of this set seem really cool, interesting and fun, but with all this information there's always the question if it's real or fake. And once you look a bit deeper, there's quite a lot of issues that are causes for concern. For example, this mid-set has removed Gadgetzin even after its very recent rework. In each set there's usually 2 econ traits. Set 7 had Shimmer, Scale and Astral, then later set 7.5 also brought Lagoon. Set 8 has Gadgetzin and Underground. And from this leak there's nothing to replace Gadgetzin, leaving Underground as the only econ trait. So this set is definitely lacking in the econ aspect. In fact, supposedly they're removing 4 traits, Gadgetzin, Hacker, Mascot and Recon, and only replacing them with 2, Mastermind and Striker, which would simplify the set a lot and remove a lot of utility like the backline access from Hacker. And I don't understand why bel'veth is an admin Striker. These traits feel very random and tacked on, and the bonuses from the traits could easily make bel'veth insanely overpowered, which she just doesn't need. Also, it may be called Darkest Hour, but where's the Void theme? The tease back in the official November 2022 dev job showed this image of this mid-set, but from these leaks I'm not seeing the connection at all. There's also no connection between how Super Galaxy Kindred looks and her traits. She just doesn't suit Anima Squad at all since they're all battle bunnies and she doesn't fit Spellslinger. Trait distribution wise, there's no way there's 2 4-cost Aegis units and 2 4-cost admin units and 2 4-cost Mastermind units. That is a ridiculous power budget to these traits because they're so easy to activate. And there's no way they've removed practically all the premier 4-cost units and replaced them with mostly AP units and tanks. In fact, the changes to the 4-cost roster are way too drastic. Only 4 units are remaining and the other 9 are completely different. That is an insane change-up that just seems way too focused on the 4-cost units. Also, removing Aurelion Sol doesn't make much sense because he was one of the solutions the dev mentioned that threats bring to the table.
Threats solve like a problem on your board where, sometimes you need anti-heal, you don't have it, you can put in Aurelion Sol, sometimes you want...
Underground would almost be unplayable in the early game since Bai is getting removed. This means that you need to have Sona to activate Underground in stage 2, which is very unlikely and rarely ever happens. And if you did hit, your board would be Sona, Master Yi and Kayle. So good luck getting to late game considering how much HP you'll lose with only these damaged units. And for some reason the Underground units lean towards the late game, which just doesn't make sense because you don't really have time and you may not be able to afford to go on a big Underground streak in the late game.
Come back when you're a little richer.
Also, as a unit, Brand just doesn't make any sense. He has a 30 mana cost ult, so with a blue buff he can cast insanely frequently. And since he's a heart unit, he will farm AP from the trait way too well. As a 2-cost unit, he can provide way too much value and completely dominate early game with both his casts and AP scaling from heart. And for some reason 2 heart is 50% stronger, so it's not hard to say that if Brand was shipped in this way, it'd completely take over the game. Likewise, Veigar is a 2-cost unit with some of the most insane hero augments. These augments, especially Phenomenal Evil Power, practically make him like set 4 Veigar, but he's even cheaper in this set. Like Brand, Veigar can have way too much power as just a 2-cost unit. And some augments are clearly not even remotely balanced. Look at Unstable Concoction, Silco's carry augment. 10 seconds is a very long time, 3 hexes is a massive range, and 50% max HP damage is absurd. This single augment turns each and every one of your units into massive nukes that can single-handedly obliterate boards. And what is the situation with Star Guardian? Both Yuumi and Talia were removed for Quinn and Xayah, which leaves Quinn, Xayah and Lux as the only damage carries in the entirety of Star Guardian, which is very odd considering they're all cheap units. Also, Xayah and Quinn are attack damage carries with really odd ults. Quinn's ult is an entire 200 mana to cast, and it looks like it doesn't even do much. Likewise, Xayah's ult has no AD scaling and some really odd AP scaling. And this version of Star Guardian is weaker at 3 and 5, so practically any and all Star Guardian comps with these carries will be very bad. I could probably continue to dissect every single flaw in this, but you probably get the point by now. The construction of this set is incredibly flawed and frankly amateurish. And just in general, there's been inaccurate leaks in the past as well. For example, there's this Reddit post from 9 months ago about the leak for set 7. And we know now that this leak was wrong or even fake, as none of these traits were in set 7 and neither were some of the units. Although the format of this Reddit post is also incredibly similar to the 7.5 leak Reddit thread, which was accurate, but the similarity is just the format. Maybe I'm wrong in saying this, but I just don't think this leak is real. At least I hope it isn't, because there's already a lot of problems. But let me know what you think. Do you think this leak is real? Are there any traits or units you wanted to see removed? Or are there any units or traits you're looking forward to? Anyway, we'll find out soon, in a few days or so hopefully, if this leak is real. But yeah, that's it for now. If you want to see more from me, then check out my other videos, especially whether set 8 was a good set or not. Remember to subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.